Hi everybody, Rob here from ProArt Studios, and welcome to this little introduction video all about ProMats Volume 1. So basically all I want to do here is just give you a quick rundown of what ProMats Volume 1 is and kind of how to get it used. So in your download you'll find a lib4d file and a text file. Put them in your object browser folder of your Cinema 4D install. There's a readme that tells you how to do all this, so I won't go through it. But once you're kind of in Cinema 4D and you've got it installed, if you open up a content browser, and you'll find the ProMats in the list of all your presets that you have here, along with the texture folder. And what you have is a set of materials, and now these are all texture based, so these aren't procedural. So they're much more kind of realistic and detailed in certain ways, and tend to be more specific, but that's not to say that you can't use them in other ways. So they're really good for kind of motion graphics. So to use these, all you need to do is have an object in your scene, and I'm going to take this brick for example, and I'm just going to drag it and drop it straight on this sphere. Let's take another one. Let's take this cherry boards, and I'll drop that on the bottom. And all I'm doing is I'm just giving you a quick overview of how the materials work. So let's take the cherry boards, which is this material here. In fact, let's get a quick render going. Interactive render region is not set at the best quality, but you can still see how well these textures work, how these materials work. Now, of course, because these are texture based, you don't have to worry about what engine you're using. So at the moment, this is set up using a standard renderer from within Cinema 4D, and if we look here, you can just see we have a color channel which is using this texture here. We have reflectance, which is driven by various textures. We have one in the mask, so that if I click on this, hopefully you can see here the grooves between the planks themselves aren't particularly reflective, but the top surfaces are, as they get kind of burnished by people walking on them, that kind of thing. We have a map for bump, and we have a map for normal, which gives the lovely surface detail. Now, if I create a new scene, I'm just going to show you how I would do this with maybe a different setup. Let's do something really, really simple. So I'm going to take a plane here, and the 4 meter default is fine for me. That's absolutely okay. And let's just take a quick sphere, and I'll reduce the size of this down to, let's say, about 20 centimeters. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just show you how I would use these materials, or these textures, sorry, in a different renderer. So this could be cycles. As you can see, I've got here, we could use Arnold, anything. It doesn't really matter. Octane. For this, let's use Maxwell. Okay, so I'm going to add a Maxwell scene object to my scene, and I'm going to add a camera because we always want to use a camera. I can come down to Maxwell and I can add a camera tag, and that gives me some options, but I don't need to worry about that for now. Okay, so let's go create shader, and let's go for a Maxwell material, and I'm going to open this up, bring this in. So let's go for our main color. So let's redo that kind of cherry tiles thing going on. I'm going to check here, and I'm going to navigate my cherry boards, which will be up here. Okay, I'm going to leave all of these as they are. That's fine. I'm happy with those. That's cool. And now I'm going to go to roughness, which I'm going to leave at 97. I think that's fine. But what I am going to do is add a texture in the bump slot. You can see it's grayed out at the moment. So I'm going to add a texture here. And if I find my cherry boards, I'm going to use the normal map that's provided in the pack. And I'm going to leave this like this for now as well. I think that's going to be fine. Let's close that down. Now you won't see huge amounts done in this preview, but if we drag this onto, let's say, the floor. Now this is just the default light. So this is a sky environment and a sunlight. I'm just going to shift this over a second while I look at changing the tiling. I might increase the tiling of this one. So let's just go for 2 by 2. I think will look better. I'm going to just start that again. Okay, so I'm going to open up that material. I'm going to go to create and create a standard diffuse material. This is going to be the stone. I'm going to change that roughness to 97. Now I don't need to come in here with this material and add some of these textures because it's already here. So I can come in here and I can go color. And I'm going to go for, let's go for a poured concrete. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to make a poured concrete ball. So I'm going to add that same poured concrete in the bump channel, and the roughness I'm just going to leave as it is. That's fine. Let's close this down. I may want to increase the bump. I might actually want to increase the bump of this wooden material as well. So I'm going to just increase that. I can always come in and adjust it afterwards. Drop that on the ball. It's really simple. Just using the textures you have. Now, the textures themselves are using a number of different channels depending on what the material is that they're trying to replicate. So if I just move this into view a little bit, so you'll see that they all come with normal maps. So you'll have the metal roller material is a good example. Okay, so we have the diff, which is the color channel. We have the displacement channel for those kind of large surface details of the actually changing the geometry. We have the normal map, which is great for kind of using as a bump. We have weight for some things, so the weight here is really good for defining which areas of a material might be shiny or not. And then spec, which is similar, and in fact they often look a little alike, except the weight map is generally going to give you more reflectiveness, or at least more of the higher details. Some of them also have opacity maps. So there's a metal material which has this perforated metal, so that the white here is showing what part of the material is actually going to be seen, and the black is kind of hollowed away. So that's a little look at the materials you get in there, and they're all in a texture file, so you can use them no matter what software. Doesn't matter if you're using Cinema 4D, Maya, Max, whatever, they're perfectly good to go no matter. Okay, so I've been Rob Ribbon, and this has been a little introduction to the ProMats Volume 1. I hope you love it. Show me your renders. I really love to see what you do with the textures and materials that I make. Thanks very much. I've been Rob. Bye bye.